I did try to bond with the baby. She worried the baby wouldn't live up to Leah. I have never been shy about saying how much being a father means to me, and how raising Leah has been the highlight of my life, along with marrying my wife, and now having our child together. She said it was initially what made her confident in marrying me, and excited to have a big family with me, but now she constantly wondered if her pregnancy and this baby would be a highlight or a burden for me, because the stress is the same, but the newness wasn't. She worried that a newborn and then a toddler wouldn't be as interesting to me as Leah, who is capable of doing activities. She showed me a million articles of different men explaining they didn't bond with their children until they were 4+ years old. She also showed me videos where people say things they did with their first kid and then get more relaxed as they have more children. She said it freaked her out because it was clear people stopped caring the more children they had. She said there were times she felt she was ruining our family and coming between me and Leah. For example, at the zoo, she cried on the way to the hospital because she was afraid Leah would hate her and resent the baby for cutting our zoo time short, and that I would be upset about spending my time off work at the hospital instead of doing the activities we had planned with Leah. While I work, Leah and my wife spend a lot of time out of the house, going to the library, local parks, etc. One of their favorite activities is biking together, and we bike together on weekends as well. We have lots of local trails, but due to her pregnancy, she has not been able to bike. As a result, we've been doing more indoor activities. My wife said that when I'm at work, Leah kept saying she hated her because she didn't get to go on her new bike as often anymore. I said I would discuss it with Leah because that is unacceptable. My wife asked me not to, since there would be so many changes soon for Leah, and it hurt her because she missed biking together as well. A couple of months ago, my wife asked me and Leah if we wanted to read stories together. Leah chose the first story I read, and my wife chose the second, her favorite childhood story, for me to read to the baby, and Leah, since it helps promote brain activity and bonding. After that, I read another book of Leah's choosing. While I was at work the next day, Leah ripped the pages out of the book my wife chose. My wife said she was going to tell me, but her friend, the same one who says we aren't soulmates, said I would think she was making it up and that it seemed like she was trying to come between me and Leah. I asked her why she didn't tell me any of this, and she explained that she didn't feel comfortable because her thoughts didn't even make sense to her. She wanted me to spend time with Leah so she didn't feel left out or jealous, but when I did, she felt upset that I wasn't spending more time with her. She loves Leah, but wishes we had our first kid together. She wants me around, but also feels upset and guilty when I give her and our unborn baby attention. She said she feared that I would think she was trying to come between me and Leah, even though she wasn't. By the time I realized something was truly wrong and started to ask what was wrong, if she needed therapy, etc., she said she realized she was acting poorly, but didn't want to admit to herself that she missed out on a lot with me. She doubled down as it was hard to face that she made her fears a reality by pushing me away and not letting me care. She said she felt she couldn't start over and that her first pregnancy was a somewhat bad experience because of her own actions. At this point, I realized how terrible I had been. I apologized for making her feel like she couldn't come to me about anything. She said when she researched her feelings, she found a bunch of forums where people were calling the posters evil for their feelings about their stepchildren, and she feared I would feel the same. She said if I had told her I felt about Leah the way she felt about Leah, it would make her angry and upset, so she couldn't see how I wouldn't feel the same. We both cried for a long time. I tried to reassure her. I told her how much I loved her, how excited I was, that she was the family of my choosing and my soulmate, and that the universe knew that Leah and I needed her, which is why circumstances allowed us to be a family. She apologized for the way she treated me and said she wanted to make it right. She said she had wanted to apologize when I was beginning to have my meltdown, but was surprised when I yelled, and she realized she might have messed up beyond repair to get that reaction from me. We continued to cry for a long time, and she asked if I wanted to feel the baby. Of course, I said yes, and we cried even more. It turned out to be a great evening. I knew things were turning around when she woke me up by whispering, "Baby wants blueberry pancakes." That's Saturday. I don't think I've ever prepared pancakes so fast. I couldn't keep the smile off my face. We ended up going to a pool party a few days later, and she let me choose her swimsuit, a big deal for someone who only wore baggy clothes around me. We took family pictures, and the universe was clearly on my side because on the way home, she asked me to feel her belly, and our baby was hiccuping, something I had never felt before, and a first we could share together. She has even let me help her when she is sick, without making an excuse about Leah. I've learned that when she comes and puts her back to me and lifts her arm, That's my cue to lift her belly up. I now spend a lot of time rubbing and talking to her belly, and rubbing her feet, legs, back, shoulders, and hips. She is sore everywhere at this point. The first 500 times it made me cry. It has been such a relief to be involved. I never thought being tasked with acquiring the most random food items at 2 a.m. would be a great time for me, but it is. It still sucks that I missed out on a lot. I think it sucks for her too. She gets emotional and says a weight has been lifted off her and things are so much easier, and she is upset that she didn't talk to me sooner. I have been working to fix some of my wife's guilt, and I realized there were a lot of simple fixes. For example, I went to my local bike shop and got a pull-behind trailer. Now, I pull her in that, and she can use a small fan and ice packs while Leah rides her bike. I have taken time off work, so I can spend more time with both of them. We are all in therapy, and thankfully Leah's therapist continues to say she is securely attached to both of us, enjoys the time we spend together, is coping very well. Some of her behavior was due to another situation, which we have resolved, and she is excited to be a big sister. My wife was terrified that maybe Leah could sense her attitude shift, but her therapist says that Leah only has one complaint about my wife, that she forgot her candy one time, and then it took 32 whole minutes for the store to deliver it. My wife is in therapy, working to overcome the negative feelings she has. That is pretty much where we are now. We are getting very close to baby time, and working hard to finish preparing. My wife still needs reassurance, and there are a lot of times she brings up my ex. I've found that bringing up our first helps. For example, when she asks about certain things and how they were for me, I'll say, I don't want to talk about that, and steer the conversation to us. I remind her of our first house, our first vacation, our first kiss, and our first date. I tell her about moments that made me fall more in love with her. I also bring up special memories involving her and Leah, like, do you remember when you and Leah made me so-and-so? That is still one of my prized possessions. It upsets me that my wife suffered for so long. I believe that saying it out loud took a lot of power away from her feelings. I think most people know how badly it feels when you have thoughts that don't feel like your own during a mentally taxing time. I really should have stood up for our relationship and her mental health way sooner. I accepted her brushing me off for far too long when I should have realized she needed help.